Alright, Lang, so Bleach Soul Resonance newest character is going to be an SSR AIZEN. At this point confirmed to be a limited SSR spirit type tactic unit, so the perfect character to use alongside Toshiro to potentially make the best team in the game. However, right now we do have gameplay finally of AIZEN in terms of what he is going to offer, and also what seems to be a full character kit breakdown, which was posted 2 days ago, which is kind of crazy. None of us really caught onto it. More on that in a minute, but let's go ahead and react to AIZEN's gameplay. I'm excited for it. I can't believe we're already getting AIZEN so soon, but it's AIZEN. Let's go, baby. Hado 90. Standing at the top. Let's see it. All right, a lot going on here, leading up to the character gameplay. Let's see some gameplay finally. Here we go. So first up, we have the counter. Slash forward. Poor hollows, by the way. Not sure. I think that was his basic attack. That seems to be the technique. He's got Raikuho. Hado 63, I think. And there's the 90. Love it. Surprising that's on his ultimate, though. So that seems to be his battlefield skill, right? Oh, damn, we getting some Gin gameplay? Never mind. He faked out again. Well, game on basic attack. Is that his ultimate? Nah, that's clean. That's clean. Oh, hey, yo. Brother. AIZEN, relax. We're still cracking the screen. Oh, that's so sick. Oh, that's actually a really cool effect of, I assume, Kyokusugetsu ending. Man. These new characters are looking absolutely insane. Even though Ichigo Bankai is a really cool character and a really good unit too, animation-wise, these new characters have been insane. Look at the Kyokusugetsu effect that we have here. I believe Arki activates his ultimate. Now, Gin being there, by the way, I don't think that's implying that Gin is going to work together. Because, again, this is a spirit-type character. Gin should be a frost-type character. I think they're just doing it because Gin's next. But, man, the animations. Let's rewind that. I want to watch that again before we break down the character. Gameplay-wise, this character looks insane. Even the artwork, which I think got leaked yesterday. I think that's the exact artwork. Also looks really good. And the crazy part that we are seeing here right now, here's the tactic unit. Now, every tactic unit has been an off-field character, someone that just wants to be used occasionally alongside the main DPS. We are seeing a lot of field presence with AIZEN, and that's great. Because I feel like this character, for the first limited SSR tactic unit, is going to break the notion that tactic units don't get a lot of screen time that we saw with other characters. Because right now, Kaname, Byakuya, and also Sergeant, they're pretty much off-field until they activate their Bankai. And then they get a little bit of screen presence. But AIZEN right now very well might be a very prominent on-field unit despite being a tactic character. Especially once more with this Shikai effect of Kyokusugetsu. But like being able to crack your screen. And then the pause there with the music is so sick. Yeah, that might be a 10. This might be a must summon. This might be a must summon. Alright then, so now that we've had the full character gameplay reveal, this would have been the part where we translate the text that we did get on screen, basically giving us a first look at what the attacks are actually going to offer. But while doing that, it sounded very familiar. Because 2 days ago, we did get a leak from Yone, which at this point, you know, it says it could be accurate. Please do take it with a grain of salt. However, the text that we did get in the video versus what was shown in this leak 2 days ago is 1-to-1. So this checks out. And through this potential leak, which again, as of right now, seems to be true based on the gameplay that we did just yet, it adds a bit more context to what we are seeing in the gameplay, while also potentially showing us some of the stuff that the gameplay doesn't show, like his passive effects, his boundaries, and also his weapon and core stamp. Now, I guess just to clarify right from the get-go, in case this does end up being a little bit wrong, in terms of the attacks that are shown, it's fully 1-to-1 with the leak that we did get 2 days ago. In terms of the core passives, The boundaries, the weapon stamps, the core stamps, etc. That's not officially revealed, so it could be a little bit different. But as far as the attacks are concerned, this is what was being shown in the video in Chinese text. So we have a translation here, and a pretty accurate translation too. So first up, let's read the character's basic attack. So Aizen wields his Zanpakuto toe and strikes 5 times, dealing damage upwards to a percentage of his attack. Now, for the first 3 strikes that Aizen does land, he will gain 1 spiritual pressure point. But what I really do like here is that while you are attacking the enemy, if you stop to dodge or counterattack, it will not interrupt the basic attack combo, meaning that no matter what happens in combat, you're always going to be able to finish the full sequence. Now, with that, the character also does have a special attack, which we did see in the gameplay, which has him activate Hado 63, Raikoho. In this case, it will pull the enemy slightly together, dealing damage, and also gaining 1 spiritual pressure point. Using this skill, however, will allow your basic attack combo to skip directly to the 3rd phase, so you can follow up the special attack with an additional combo, so you can follow up the special attack with the final 2 hits of the normal attack. So you can follow up this special attack with the final 2 hits of the basic attack. Now, how exactly are you going to be able to activate this character's special attack? Well, that's more so going to be seen through his technique. In this case, stated as Fated Demise, Aizen step backs and releases a Sword of Pressure, dealing damage, and also once more gaining 1 spiritual pressure point. After releasing this skill, the technique and basic attack button will become active, and tapping them can trigger the 2nd phase of the technique. Now, after releasing his technique, the technique button and basic attack button will become active once more. So at this point, you can choose to activate your special attack, which is Hado 63, Raikoho, or you can use it to trigger the 2nd part of his technique, Unavoidable. In this case, Unavoidable, Aizen will instantly slash through the enemy in front of him, dealing damage, and once more gaining 1 spiritual pressure point. Using this skill allows your basic attack to skip directly to the 3rd phase again. So once you do use your technique, you get to either do another technique, or you get to do your special attack, and no matter what route you do go down, once that special attack or technique is done, you can then follow up with more basic attacks. However, when it comes to his initial technique, Fated Demise, if you press this technique at the moment an enemy strikes you, the damage for Unavoidable and Hado 63 will be increased by a certain percentage. So this is a technique that you can use whenever you want to, but you kind of want to time it when an enemy is attacking you to get more damage from it. Scrolling down though, let's have a look at the character's battlefield skill, because this is going to be a big part of the character, because that's his main role, to be the sub-DPS tactic unit. So you might have noticed in that gameplay that Aizen has access to 2 different battlefield skills. As you'll see here, he does have access to Hado 90 Kuro Hitsugi, but he also does have Complete Hypnosis and also technically a 3rd one, which we'll talk about later. So when you are playing with Aizen, Aizen is going to have 2 types of energy that he can gain: Battlefield Skill Energy and Suppression Gauge. Now, Battlefield Skill Energy accumulates through Aizen's attacks while on the battlefields. And the Battlefield Skill Energy that you do gain it is used to activate Hado 90. So this character is used to activate the Hado 90 Battlefield skill. His Suppression Gauge, on the other hand, is gained when another enemy is attacking, and he is therefore in the backline. So what this does mean is that Aizen is going to have 2 different ways to play. You can either use him as a main DPS and gain battlefield skill to activate Hado 90, or if you want to use another character, let's say Tosho for example, because he is going to be the fuller souled unit, you will be building up his suppression gauge, which will then allow him to activate his 2nd battlefield skill, which in this case is going to be the Complete Hypnosis. But when you're looking at his Hado 90 battlefield skill, so Aizen accumulates battlefield skill by using his attacks on the battlefields. At full release, he can inflict Hado 90 Kuro Hitsugi, dealing damage and applying 1 stack of Ravage. Now, it's called Ravage here. This might be what it's called on the official release. During the trailer that we just got, it's called Crush. But again, that should be a translation diff. Either way, he is going to be applying Ravage, Crush, whatever you want to call it. He's applying something on the enemy, and he will apply 1 stack when he does use his battlefield skill. Now, you might be wondering, what exactly is Ravage? Well, at least as of right now, it potentially does. Well, at least as of right now, from the looks of it, it does reduce all type resistance, so potentially allowing Aizen to be a sub-DPS for any team, because he's making any character deal more damage. Because as of right now, from the characters that I know with Byakuya, for example, he specifically lowers slash type resistance. Aizen right now, from the looks of it, again, this part could be different on release, because it isn't stated to be in the video, but based on what you have here, it does check out. He will be lowering all type resistance. And while on that, the way you are going to apply Ravage, Crush, whatever you want to call it, again, is through Hado 90, or by using this character's counterattack. He will specifically apply 3 stacks of Ravage or Crush. Now, with Aizen, if he's the only one left in the team, let's say, for example, you go in solo, or maybe your 2 allies do die, then all attacks, except I will stand atop of the heavens, we'll talk about that in a minute, will contribute to the suppression gauge. When the suppression gauge reaches maximum, Aizen will enter complete suppression, and during this time, releasing a backline battlefield skill will consume all suppression gauge to increase its damage by 10%. Now, while under Kyokusugetsu, that's going to be his ultimate, the suppression gauge will double. So you can basically get more damage from the backline battlefield skill, essentially. So with that in mind, let's talk about his ultimate. So his ultimate, of course, is going to be Shatter Kyokusugetsu. Aizen is sent his Zanpakuto, dealing damage and activating Kyokusugetsu for 18 seconds. During this time, the backline battlefield skills are enhanced, and the suppression gauge expands to twice its usual capacity. Following the ultimate, his basic attacks will remain enhanced until Aizen is switched into the backline. So another example where if you do activate the ultimate, you can either switch to a backline to let Toshu do more damage, or use him as a main DPS. If we have a look at his enhanced basic attack, Aizen will build his Zanpakuto, striking 5 times while releasing Kido, dealing damage, and also again gaining 1 spiritual pressure point, for specifically landing the first 3 strikes. The last 2 strikes, however, will trigger Hado 90, which is counted as a battlefield skill, and once more, when dodging or countering in between the basic attack combo, it will not interrupt the basic attack sequence. And this effect is disabled once Aizen does switch into the backline. So this is crazy that you just get to let off his battlefield skill Hado 90 by using his basic attack combo for 18 seconds. Absolutely insane. But that's what I'm really liking with this character, because again, the impression that as a tactic unit, you can't have much field presence. And right now, Aizen looks to be taking all of the field presence. You might not even need Toshiro, apparently. But I guess with that, when we do have a look at Hado 90, his battlefield skill, again, as stated here, when you do activate Kyokusugetsu, his ultimate, you can't activate his battlefield skill. You will be doing that through his basic attacks. When it comes to complete hypnosis, this is going to be his backline battlefield skill. It deals damage and reduces the enemy's spirit resistance by 10%. However, when you activate his ultimate Kyokusugetsu and switch him into the backline and then use his battlefield skill, you will be activating I alone will stand at the top. In this case, you will switch into Aizen, release a finishing blow, dealing damage, and also remove the Kyokusugetsu effect. In this case, if Aizen's battlefield skill button is active and he's the only one left in the team, then after releasing the ultimate, Aizen's ultimate button will become active again, which in this case will trigger the battlefield skill, which is kind of crazy because again, for battlefield skills to activate, you do need to meet a certain number of requirements, having certain characters in the team. 2 spirit characters in a 3 character team. It's really cool here that potentially if you don't meet the requirements for his battlefield skill, so potentially again, we don't know the actual requirement here, but let's assume it's 2 spirit characters and a team of 3. Like all the other battlefield skills. Aizen doesn't care about the requirement. He just allows him to activate his battlefield skill regardless if he is alone. So they even consider him to be a character that you don't even need to play with a team. Or if you can't meet that requirement, let's say you want to use other characters, you're still going to get his battlefield skill effects. With that said, though, now let's have a look at the character's core passive. So in this case, Aizen will be able to accumulate spiritual pressure points through various attacks. Upon reaching 3 spiritual pressure points, releasing an ultimate or a battlefield skill will activate spiritual pressure intimidation for 12 seconds. During this time, Aizen's resistance to interruption is increased, and he can also trigger perfect dodge against most incoming attacks upwards to 3 times. That is actually very powerful. That is really cool. And while in spiritual pressure intimidation, any spiritual pressure points gained are converted to enhanced spiritual pressure points, which will all be consumed when releasing his battlefield skill Hado 90. If 3 points are consumed at once, then for the next 5 seconds, switching into another teammate will also trigger that teammate's counterattack with its damage and spiritual pressure reduction rate being decreased by 50%. So it's not a full counterattack, not as powerful, but still you get to manually trigger, so that itself is actually powerful. Also, for every 1 enhanced spiritual pressure point consumed, the team gains 1 stack of illusion shield for 12 seconds upwards to 3 stacks. So what exactly is illusion shields? Well, potentially as of right now, it significantly increases the character's interruption resistance, and taking any damage consumes 1 stack to negate it and grants invincibility for 1 second. So Aizen again can be immune to attacks essentially. You can also pass that on to your teammate when switching into that. If we have a look at his other passives, so passive 1 is going to be while releasing the battlefield skill Hado 90, each enhanced spiritual pressure point consumes inflicts 1 extra stack of ravage or crush, depending on how the translation does turn out, to the target upwards to 6 extra stacks. And the effect of Ravage is increased to a certain percentage. His second passive is when Aizen releases a backline battlefield skill while under complete suppression, its damage is increased, so just more damage for his frontline and backline battlefield skill. And this one can be crazy, is that when you do activate Kyokusugetsu his ultimate, the entire team gains a percentage crit rate. We don't know the exact number as of right now, but that could be quite crazy because, again, Toshiro, a character that wants to be potentially used alongside Aizen, does want more crit rate. But in general, any character having a crit rate buff is going to be good. Everyone wants high crit rate. Some want it more, however, and Aizen potentially giving that to the entire team is crazy for himself and also, again, the team. Very powerful passive effect, I will be honest. So again, that's what Aizen potentially does look like as of right now. For the most part, we can confirm based on the attacks that are shown, it's 1-to-1 with the leak that we did get 2 days ago. Maybe the core passive and some of the things might be a little bit different, but as of right now, it does check out, and that's why I do feel comfortable sharing this. But we can have a look at his boundaries, and these can be quite crazy. Again, this is going to be duplicates, but in this case, when Aizen released a backline battlefield skill while under complete suppression, he gained 50% battlefield skill energy, and Aizen's attack is increased by a certain percentage. That should be his first one. This should be a second one. All battlefield skills ignore enemies' defense by a certain percentage, and while under spiritual pressure intimidation, the damage dealt by the battlefield skill is increased by a certain percentage. This one should be his fourth duplicate, so increases spirit type damage of all characters in the team by a certain percentage and enters complete suppression when the battle begins. That is quite powerful. And in the final boundary, so 6 duplicates, all battlefield skills are guaranteed to crit. And the crit damage of that here is further increased by the amount of Aizen's current critical rate. That is insane, by the way, damn. We don't need this power, but that is insane if you do max duping. This will also increase the cap of Ravage to 3 stacks. And when Aizen is switched in through a backline battlefield skill, he will release a counterattack. That is again quite crazy. And this effect lasts until Aizen is switched into the backline once more. So duplicates are going to make him powerful. That should be expected. And his final one is going to be absolutely crazy. With that said, though, let's have a look at the character's potential exclusive core stamp and weapon stamp. So in this case, his core stamp is increase the effect of Ravage by a certain percentage, and after releasing an ultimate, the on-field character gains 1 stack of illusion. Each time that character lands a hit, they will gain another stack of illusion, which is crazy, and each stack of illusion increases all damage type by a certain percentage, upwards to 10 stacks. Lasting until Kyokusu Getsu ends, so you do need to activate the character's ultimate, and you do want to switch into that character to increase their damage output. Even if this is like 1 to 2%, upwards to 10 stacks, like we're looking at potentially 10% to 20% more damage, if not even higher, which is crazy. When a counterattack from switching into a character is triggered, that new on-field character inherits all illusion stacks, and the cap increases by 10 upwards to 40. Upon reaching a full stacks, illusion also grants extra crit damage bonus. Aizen is crazy. That core stamp is insane. When it comes to his weapon stamp, increases the cap of his enhanced spiritual pressure points to 6, and if the battlefield skill had on 90 is used, it consumes all 6 points at once, and an extra counterattack from switching to the teammate will be triggered. Increases the damage of counterattack triggered by the passive effect by a certain percentage, increase the effect of Ravage by a certain percentage, and releasing any battlefield skill grants 3 spiritual pressure points. While not under spiritual pressure intimidation, if fewer than 3 spiritual pressure points are consumed, if fewer than 3 spiritual pressure points are possessed, obtaining them immediately activates Aizen's spiritual pressure intimidation. If exactly 3 spiritual pressure points are possessed, entering spiritual pressure intimidation grants another 3. So you get to take full advantage of his spiritual pressure intimidation mode. But that's essentially, from the looks of it, again, Aizen's breakdown. Like I already stated multiple times, I do feel comfortable sharing this leak because, again, from what we just saw in the gameplay, the attacks that they do show are pretty much 1-to-1, which was posted here 2 days ago. So potentially from the looks of it, what we just covered today, his passives, his core stamp, his weapon stamp, and his boundaries are potentially going to like what was stated here in this leak. I guess take the stuff that isn't shown in the gameplay as a grain of salt, but if it does turn out to be like that, that is going to be insane. But regardless of what the core passives, what the weapon stamp, the core stamp is going to offer, just from the gameplay alone, we can see that Aizen is going to be a very powerful character. Really cool and flashy gameplay. But also, most importantly, it seems to be a on-field and off-field DPS character. It really depends on how you want to play the character. If you don't have Toshiro, you can use Aizen as a main DPS potentially. And if you do have Toshiro, you can use both as an on-field, off-field character. Both just potentially dealing insane levels of damage. But from the looks of it, Aizen seems to be a very self-efficient unit. You don't need a team to make him work. But if he is with a team, then of course he is going to get better and also make the team better too. Aizen right now looks to be an insane character, and I'm kind of surprised this was leaked 2 days ago. Either way, Aizen looks like an absolute beast of a character. Let me know how you like to feel about him in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care and peace.